Well, despite all the excitement about the offseason changes, Preds fans apparently still have some reservations about the front office. Plus, national TV schedule is out. We'll look at the games the Preds are going to be playing in front of a national audience, and a wild power play rule change being tested. Maybe the end of Ann and I's friendship, but we'll see if it's something you would like to see in the NHL. Talk about it today on the Locked On Predators podcast.
Your Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making the Locked On Predators podcast your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, I want to start out with a special how do you do to our loyal Locked On Pred heads out there, the everydayers who tune into every single show. We love you guys. We appreciate the support you give us week after week after week. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm a writer at Penalty Box Radio, and I have a partner in crime.
You do. I'm Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer at InsideThePreds.com.
Also want to mention today's episode brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. A fun Friday show for all of you guys today. We have the Preds national TV schedule out. We're going to be diving into some of the games that the Preds are going to be featured in, plus a wild new rule change.
Let's go.
Involving the power play. We're not going to spoil it too much, but Ann and I have vehemently disagreed.
We have
on whether we want to see this in the NHL so far. Maybe the end of our friendship, Ann.
We're going to, let's see how this all plays out. Cause I think we both have really big feelings on this.
We do. Yeah. So we're going to let you guys weigh in on that one too. We're going to start though with a piece in The Athletic. So Dom Luszczyszyn put out a little ranking system. It is about each team's confidence in their respected front office. So they ranked all 32 teams. They polled the fan base on things like, roster building, cap management, ability to draft and develop some trades. The Predators rank 23rd overall in the NHL in fan, optimism, fan confidence. Yeah, a C. It was a solid C. Was their grade across, and they polled both, members of the public, like writers, other personalities around the NHL, and the fan base. And it's interesting to see where they develop. But even after some of these changes this offseason, Preds fans still not completely on board with the direction of the team. It seems like.
It's really kind of surprising to me because I think there have been, over the last couple of seasons, there has been this rising tide of it's time for a change. It's time for a change. You get a change. You get a change with somebody like Barry Trotz, who I think was a fantastic fit for the Nashville Predators. What a great place for his first general managing career. Great working relationship transition with David Poile. Trotz has proven he's his own man. He does his own thing, as my son said at 4 years old. Like, so many good things are happening. I'm surprised how little it was reflected when it came to the fan base. And I don't know, do you think that they're just overly cautious, or do you think people haven't bought in yet? Like, I'm fascinated by this.
Yeah. Here's what Dom Luszczyszyn said. He said, it's been Barry Trotz, hasn't been shy about putting a stamp on the team.
Very true.
But he also said, some of the moves have kind of been a mixed bag. And we have seen that ourselves in some of, the interaction that we've gotten. When Barry Trotz came out, kind of shuffled some guys out, went in the draft and said, we're going to take some big swings at some guys, kind of lay the groundwork for, we're going to do this a little bit differently. Fans were hyped. They were like,
Totally.
yes, let's go. Like,
Yes.
let's get, I'm all on board on this. We know the direction of our team. Like, this is going to be just, an up and up and, positive direction. And then you talk to some fans after free agency, and, you and I have given our opinions on signings of guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Shen, Gustav Nyquist. But there have been a lot of fans that kind of look at those signings and have gone, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the signings threw people for a little bit of a loop because so much of the talk was about developing the young players, giving these young players a chance. This is going to be a youth retool. And then you bring in these veterans. But I get it. Like, I get it. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And here's what I think also muddies the water so much when you're looking at what is happening with the Nashville Predators and how confident should you be. We just don't know a lot about Andrew Brunette yet.
Right.
You're doing this with a new GM. You're doing with this a brand new looking roster, and you're doing it with a brand new head coach. So it's hard to even go, okay, here's the roster we have. What is this head coach going to be able to do with it? I think, if John Hines were still here, we'd be able to speculate a little bit more, but we just don't know enough. So I think there's a lot of gray area. I also wonder how much people are questioning the free agency signings of like O'Reilly, because those were big culture moves, according to Barry Trotz. Also, shipping out Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson, and don't extrapolate too much from it, but that was also kind of like we needed a fresh vibe in the locker room. And I wonder how much people are not willing to sacrifice production for culture yet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure, yeah.
I think people are like, no. We want offense more than we're worried about culture. I don't think it's the wrong move. I think if you, with all these young players, culture has to be important, but I get why people are like, you just sent away two of our best offensive weapons.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Well, it's also kind of mixed signals, I think, because, you mentioned that Duchene move where it's like, okay, well, we can go ahead and buy him out and have, I think it's next year. I can't remember if it's next year or the year after, where there's like $11 million in dead cap. And it's one of those where it's like, okay, well, you can do that because the Preds are rebuilding. They're going to focus on some of their younger players. But then you go out and you lock in, 4-year deal for Ryan O'Reilly and 3-year deal for Luke Shen. And now all of a sudden you look at cap friendly this year and you only have like $8 million to play with this year, which isn't, that's still a decent cap hit.
Yeah, that's a chunk of change.
That's a chunk of change, but that's, all of a sudden all that wild flexibility that you have is gone.
Yeah.
And what if the Preds find themselves in a position to land like one of those Matthew Tkachuk-esque trades? Yeah. Like, are they going to have the flexibility to pull that off in the future? So I think it's like, I think there's a lot of fans that I've spoken to that are like, okay, we're on board with, eating some Johansson's salary just to get that off the books, and, eating Duchene's salary to get that off the books, but then to back it up with more, big contracts that are going to be tough to move if something goes wrong. That's almost sending like mixed signals here a little bit.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it's, where is the balance? And I think Barry Trotz has a good handle on what the balance needs to be as far as veteran presence, developing these young players, and all of that. But I get why it feels a little bit like mixed signals, because on the one hand, it's youth movement. On the other hand, it's, hey, we're going to get rid of these two players and move these big contracts. But like you said, then you bring in these other contracts and they're not going to be movable. Ryan O'Reilly's contract is not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So it is a little mixed signal. I think my confidence in Barry Trotz is a little bit higher, I think, than what these votes are.
Yeah.
But it's a crapshoot, y'all. What is going to happen October 10th? I don't know.
Yeah. So the Nashville Predators fan base, according to Athletic, they gave the Preds a D+ for roster building, which if you're just going on the last few years of David Boyle's tenure, that's not hard to argue against.
That's a rough one. Yeah.
A C plus in cap management, a C plus in the ability to draft and develop, C minus in trading. Might object to that one a little bit.
Yeah.
C minus in free agency and a C in vision / direction of the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anything about that you're just like, nah, that should be higher, bro.
The C minus in trading. I mean, what happened at the trade deadline? I mean, David Poile and Barry Trotz walked away with a Santa sack full of draft picks. So the trading, I'm a little bit like, really, y'all? C minus. But I do think there's a little bit of Poile hangover, and people haven't seen enough of Trotz to know what's next. So maybe next season we're going to bump up a couple more spots.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm curious to see what the fan opinion becomes.
Right.
Maybe even after just a couple of months of Andrew Brunette, and then that way they can see, okay, what's the coach's system versus what is Barry Trotz trying to do. And it's especially going to be interesting once training camp comes up and we start maybe seeing how some of these younger players that fans want to see fit in. So there's definitely going to be a lot to kind of keep an eye on in terms of how fans react to certain things.
Yeah.
Speaking of, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch the Nashville Predators on national TV this year. The Nashville Predators have their national TV schedule out. We'll look at some of the games the Preds are going to be on in front of a national audience here in just a second. But first, it's football season, folks. NFL season starting back up. And right now, you can celebrate with some incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And that's because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, if that's not good enough, all customers who bet $5, whether you've gotten FanDuel before or not, will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. That's why right now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Ann, on this Friday show, we are talking about the Nashville Predators on national TV.
That's right.
The NHL has released the national TV schedule, and the Nashville Predators will be in front of a national audience 10 times this season, including the very first game.
Yeah, I love this. Nashville Predators are kicking off a triple header on October 10th. Little bit of a downside. The Predators are the first game of 3. They're playing Tampa Bay in Florida. But the puck drop is at 4:30, y'all. So you need to plan on getting sick or like there's a funeral. So you can get home in time to catch, you have a funeral that day. So you can catch puck drop at 4:30, and that one's going to be on ESPN. They've got the triple header kicking off on October 10th. That's going to be fun.
I'm actually happy about that because I think I have a 10 p.m. flight that day, so I actually get to kind of see hockey that day.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the Predators Tampa Bay game is going to be like the highlight of that triple header, although we will get to see Tanner Jeannot, which will be really, really fun. But the second game, Blackhawks Penguins, a little Connor Bedard to wet your whistle on October 10th, and then the Kraken Golden Knights. So that'll be really interesting to see. I think those are some fun games. Like I said, not sure the Predators Tampa Bay is going to be like the nail biter of the 3, but it's kind of fun that the Predators are kicking off with that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. They also have let's run through the list here. There's a total of 2 games national on TNT, 3 games on ESPN, and then another 5 on the ESPN Plus / Hulu, like the national covered games. So they got let's see. The TNT games are against LA on January 31st and then at Minnesota Wild on March 8th. And then the ESPN cable games are going to be the Tampa Bay game we just mentioned and the LA Kings again on January 18th. Apparently, America really loves those Preds Kings matchups.
I guess so.
And then a Dallas Stars game on February 15th, and then a couple of them on the ESPN Plus. There's some December games against Carolina in there. The LA Kings again on February 22nd. Florida Panthers in March, and then St. Louis in April. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
It's fine. Look, here's what's real. I think where the Nashville Predators are, this is not a team that everybody's like, can't wait to get my eyes on this team. Like, I think it would be like, look, I don't think the Chicago Blackhawks are going to hit it out of the water in a deep postseason run, but everybody wants to see Connor Bedard. I'm just not sure Nashville has that same appeal. I think it's interesting that they're doing the Predators Dallas game February 15th, but I'm so disappointed that it's not earlier because that's the fourth and final Predators Dallas game. And I'm like, at that point, the drama is over, y'all. You're missing your Duchesne drama window. So it's kind of a bummer that that national game isn't one of the earlier matchups between Dallas and Nashville, because I think that's just I think that's going to be a big storyline early in the season. I think by the time February 15th rolls around, both teams we're going to know where these teams are. They will have seen each other 3 other times. Matt Duchesne is whatever. So, yeah, kind of disappointing. I wish that one of the earlier Preds Dallas games was a nationally televised game, but nobody called and asked me. So here we are.
Yeah, that's next time we will.
I mean, seriously, y'all.
It's funny. I'm looking at the ESPN schedule in general right now, and it's the usual suspects. And it's Boston every week. It's Chicago. It's Washington. It's New York. It's Philly. It's a lot of these teams. And I'm just like scrolling through, and it's like, how are the Edmonton Oilers like not on TV every single week? I get it. Like, I get it. It's
come on.
Yeah, I get it. Like, they're in Canada, and you want to promote American teams, but your most marketable player is there. Like, the best player of our generation is there.
Yes.
How are you not pumping this person on TV? Like, even if LeBron James went to the Toronto Raptors, the Raptors would be on TNT every week or ESPN every week because people want to watch LeBron play. How has the NHL still not figured this out where we want to watch special players play?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing every year, Ann, where it's they market teams. It's Boston is on every week, and the Rangers and the Flyers and the Blackhawks. Although the Blackhawks make sense this year.
This one I get. Yeah, that one I get this year.
Yeah, the Penguins, the Lightning. And it's just these same teams. And it's like, because people want to watch like these big market teams. And no, you're doing about it wrong. People want to watch fun games.
Let's go.
And when you have the best player of your generation, 2 of the best players in the generation on the same team, how are you not pumping that up on TV every chance you get? And that's how you make people like Connor McDavid a household name, is by putting them on TV and say, this is the star player. This is one of like the best players we've ever seen in the NHL. Look at everything he's done. Look how he compares to like Crosby and Ovechkin and all these people we've been telling you are like the star players for the past 10, 15 years. It's mind-boggling to me that the NHL still hasn't figured this out.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. When you have somebody who plays game in and game out like Connor McDavid does, there is not a game where he does not do something where you're like, holy shit, nobody else in the game can do that. Why is that not the game you're putting on there to draw people into this sport? And I get, like you said, there are all these big market franchises. Stop marketing franchises. Start marketing players. And look, here's what's real. God love him. Delightful, I'm sure. Connor McDavid is a little bit dry. When Yaroslav Askarov gets in the NHL, y'all, I want some national games.
So let's put the Nashville Predators on TV 50 times a season.
But seriously, isn't that really what you want to watch? Don't you want to watch somebody do something that other people don't do? Isn't that, don't you want to go, hey, I'm going to check out this hockey because the people here are talking about, oh my gosh, did you see the play that so-and-so did? Nobody at the water cooler is saying, hey, can you believe that Boston has this many games? I mean, they did last year, but excluding that, that's not what you know what I'm saying? You're talking about individual performances. So I am with you, like, put the guys that are exciting front and center. And look, Edmonton's going to make a deep run. You heard it here first. So I agree.
Maybe that changes this year with Bedard in Chicago. Like, I feel like that was the best case scenario for NHL because you have a market and a team you want to promote, plus a player you want to promote. So maybe that changes. But yeah, it's still mind-boggling to me that the NHL is waiting this long to try to pull the trigger on something like this. It really is.
It is. It's mind-boggling.
Speaking of mind-boggling, there is a new rule regarding power plays in Europe right now. And a lot of people think maybe this is something that should come to the NHL. Ann and I vehemently disagree on it. We're going to tackle that in just a second. But first, want to remind everybody that this is the Locked On Predators podcast, and we are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We're available wherever you get your podcast. We're also available on YouTube, so please hit that subscribe button so you will always know when we have fresh content out for you. Plus, it helps us out with numbers, gets our show out elsewhere. So if you would like to help us out, be sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, and we are talking about a wild rule change regarding power plays. This is in the Champions Hockey League in Europe. I'm going to let you explain this.
Oh, this is so fun. So it's about power plays penalties. So here are the rule changes, and then we're going to get into why it's amazing and why you might hate it. So first rule change. A team will remain shorthanded even if the opposing team scores a goal. So you commit a penalty, you do the crime, you do the time. You do the whole 2 minutes, baby.
Yeah, so if a team scores a power play goal, whether it's 3 seconds left, whether it's, a minute 47 left, they still get to stay on the power play for the entire 2 minutes.
Yes. Rule change number 2. A minor penalty will be served even if a goal is scored while a delayed penalty goal is scored. Does that make sense?
That I like that. Yes.
Okay.
So basically it's like, normally like if the ref has their hand raised, delayed penalty, they pull the goalie, it's 6-on-5, and they score, then the penalty gets waved off. That doesn't happen anymore. That part I like. Continue.
Yeah. And rule 3. If a shorthanded team scores, the minor penalty against is over. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me
at least that's part.
Tell me where do you land on all these? Because I know it's different than where I land.
So I don't mind that on a delay call, it should still be a penalty.
Okay.
I don't hate that part.
Okay.
I hate the penalty keeps going.
Really?
Yeah, I hate it if the penalty keeps going if the team scores. Like, I hate that.
Why?
I hate that. I mean, because it's like, what if there's just like a bad call and the other team just like runs up 3 goals in 2 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you have your chance. You have your chance to be shorthanded. The punishment is the goal. Like your punishment is either you're off the ice for 2 minutes or your little hook in the corner allow the other team to get a goal on you. That should be the punishment.
Yeah.
Don't do both. Like save that for like major penalties or stuff like that.
Interesting. Okay.
Or like change it so it's like almost like misconducts or certain penalties are like 2 minutes. So if you go in like, or say like a roughing penalty, like you punch somebody in the back of the head, that's a minor penalty. That should be like, okay, well, that's like a certain, I guess, class of penalties. So now you have to stay. in the ice for 2 minutes. If you were doing something like that, but like if you're just like chasing a puck and like, it's like a 50-50 call that doesn't go your way and you're against the number one power play in the NHL, like that's like double punishment. Because not only are you shorthanded for 2 minutes, but the other team has a chance to just put up however many goals they want.
Yeah, it's a quadruple punishment if you're playing the Edmonton Oilers and Leon Draisaitl's on the ice.
Yeah, to me, that
he can score 4 goals, y'all.
Yeah, that to me is just like, come on, like it's a little overkill for me at this point.
See, I am here for the chaos. Look, you do the crime, you do the time. Like, I kind of like your idea though of there being kind of classes of penalties. So where if it's a hockey play penalty, that's one thing. If it's a roughing, if it's a, that kind of thing, then maybe you do the full 2 minute thing. What I love about it is that it absolutely elevates two things. It elevates the penalty kill. And I think like, let's make that an aspect of players' games that has to be good if you want ice time. Like I love that is a skill set that becomes extremely valuable. Like that becomes valuable with trades, with free agency. Like how would they do on the penalty kill? Becomes a huge skill set. It also elevates the play of your goaltender. And look, when you have UC Saros, you're like, okay. I mean, if he can save 64 shots against the Carolina Hurricanes, we can do 2 minutes. Yeah. So I think it changes some dynamics of it. I hate delayed penalty goals, very anticlimactic. So I'm like, and also maybe just if you're going to do that, just stop the play when the penalty happens and put it on the power play. I am 100% here for if you get a shorthanded goal scored on you, you lose it. That is the
ultimate part I don't hate.
F around and find out. Like, sorry, I love that. I love that.
Have that go both ways though. Like if it just ends, then yeah. Like if any goal is scored, that's the end.
I don't know, man. I'm a little bit here for the chaos. And again, like it's not that I don't have a healthy fear of how horrible this could be, but I love that it so elevates special teams. Like it so elevates special teams. And again, like you look at a team like Edmonton, can you imagine if Edmonton always got a full 2 minutes?
I mean, you will see a lot of 8-5 games. I will say that.
There would be tons of offense. Yeah. But I love that it elevates special teams. Like this is your chance. I think the thing that I think is interesting is that it also makes you rethink penalties. Like you and I have talked about, there are some penalties that are good penalties. Like if there's a breakaway and you tangle up with that, that's probably a good penalty. Well, if you know that you've got to do the full 2 minutes and it could be not just 1 goal, but 2 goals or 3 goals in those 2 minutes, then you really do have to rethink the way the game's played. And I'm a little bit here for the chaos.
You do you, friend. You do you. Yeah. Let us know what you guys think. Drop us a comment on our YouTube page or tweet us at LO_Predators. And where can people find your work?
You can find my work online at InsideThePreds.com. You can find me on Twitter, X, whatevs, at ANK_Mama on Ice.
You can find me at that app at _NS Morgan or read my work at penaltyboxradio.com. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Predators podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We will be back next week after the long weekend with some all new episodes. We'll see you then, folks. Cheers.